Hi there guys, Tackie here from Futuristic Experience. I'm here once again with my good friend Christian. How you doing today, Christian?
Good, mate. Not too bad, not too bad.
Good. So today I wanted to talk about learning styles and different ways in which you can learn. Now, being someone who has dyslexia, obviously it makes it more difficult for you to learn in the conventional way in which we're taught at school. So I wanted to talk about some of the difficulties that you had in terms of learning in the academic way, so to speak.
Yeah, great. Well, so obviously coming from that background of being dyslexic, sitting down in a school was not my ideal place.
Yeah.
In fact, the way they teach at schools generally is quite a negative and detrimental way of teaching the people in that position.
Yeah.
Hence why now you've got loads and loads of specialised schools to teach dyslexic, dyspraxic, or even other special needs types of learning styles to kids to allow them to actually achieve in life and not fall behind.
Yeah.
Which is what was constantly happening. Yeah. Even when I was in school. Only now in the past 10 years has that really come to fruition where that's now a noticed, recognised and regularly sought after thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't really until I actually left secondary school where I really found out how to make this work for myself. When I was in primary school, I could barely spell a three-letter word, or not anything longer than a three-letter word, until I got to my final year of primary school, where I started to achieve a little bit more academically, but still very, very much way behind. People noticed that I was intelligent and I had skills and I understood things on a conceptual basis. But the actual implication of writing stuff down and doing the test or being put under pressure, I could not perform whatsoever. And I went to a dyslexia institute. So my parents were dyslexic, noticed the symptoms and signs, put me through something privately, because none of the schools would really show any help at that point in time. Worked really hard, got to a point where I was ahead of most other people in my situation. And then when I got to secondary school, I was allowed to be part of the Dyslexia Institute in the school for a year, 2 years, before I was told I was too much of a strong candidate and I didn't need the help as much as others. So I was kicked out of the Dyslexia Institute and I was told I had to request my extra time on my exams, but that was the only thing I was allowed to have, really, any help I was allowed to have. So, still having the same problems, this obviously didn't do me any good. I really couldn't stand school. I still have very little faith in the current education system. This doesn't mean I think everyone should drop out of school. This just means I think the education system really needs a good shake-up and change. That's another story. With learning styles, okay, not just dyslexia, but learning styles of every single person on this planet is programmable. And the learning style that you learn best in is the style that you personally have had the most programming in. Now by that I mean the most success, the most reward, the most experience. So if you have watched loads of people for a long time and learned that way, you're going to be more of a visual learner. If you're used to listening to people for a long period of time, you're going to be more of an auditory learner. If you're used to doing things with your hands, with your body, or physically standing up and walking around while you're trying to learn something, you're going to be more of a kinesthetic learner. These are the main three that people work on, or people understand. There's also reading and writing, which comes into a cross between a few things, and there's many others we're going to go through, including tactile, active, which are another forms of kinesthetic, also reflective, and then there's also some more whole encompassing contexts like global and processes orientated. Options, processes, global, analytical, depending on how you want to phrase it and what you want to say.
I mean, that's actually quite important, because in terms of understanding what style of learning suits you best can actually open up huge doors in terms of skill acquisition, the topic that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
You know, because the two are very, very closely linked. Because if you don't understand the style of learning that works best for you and what you're suited to, if you don't have the ability to reflect on what style of learning suits you best, it's going to inhibit your ability to acquire skills, and that's one of the reasons why people have such limited
That's exactly what happened to me. I mean, when I was a kid, my auntie and my gran used to show me all this stuff on Egyptology and dinosaurs, and I loved history. I loved looking into how things started, how things became. I wanted to know chemistry. I was very interested in academics. But going to school destroyed my interest in all of that. Intensely so. I mean, it was probably the worst thing I could have done in my life. And the best thing. Because going to school showed me how, you know, it gave me the access and the idea into learning stuff. So I was like, why can't I do this? Why can't I understand? I want to understand. Why can't I? Why hasn't anyone told me how to understand? You know, why do I understand this but not that? And then when I went into kickboxing, and I started to, then I needed to become a personal trainer. And when I went through some of these more vocational qualifications, more vocational industries, they're actually a lot more forward-thinking in terms of education than the academic industry. The academic industry is narrow-minded, one-room. And then you find that as well, and it's not all by any means. But you find in a lot of like university professors, especially people like history, they'll know everything about their one subject. And so history, for instance, they'll know everything about that one part of the timeline. But then you go, but surely these people before would influence this, and then those people afterwards. And then that professor won't be able to answer your question because he's only an expert in that field. And it's happened so many times in science, it's happened so many times in English literature, it's happened so many times in mathematics, psychology. It's happened so many times in so many academic fields that people get to a point of success, and as we spoke last time, they get to that point and go, right, I need to now cross over to this skill to learn more here to be better at this skill. But they don't want to do that because it's too much hard work. And if you get to a certain point of building every single skill where you've got to either admit that you know nothing and you need to go and learn something else to then further yourself, or pretend you're an expert for people who don't know as much as you. So, I mean, I was never happy with that. So I went and learned more, and then changed skills and learned more here, and then changed skills and learned more here, and then now I end up coming back to the same place and having much more knowledge in that place, and then learning more again through everything. But without this experience in school for me, I would have never gone on to find out about learning styles. But what I found out about learning styles was really interesting. So what I found out was not just what learning style I was, or what learning style other people were, or how to communicate and teach those people, how to communicate and teach myself. I also found out that each learning style was programmable, like I said at the beginning. Now what that actually means is, if you suck at reading and writing, you can become good at reading and writing. If you are no good at a physical task, learning something kinesthetic, you can become good at that. There are ways to train yourself over these problems. And that's what's really key, and people don't realise as well. And it just takes some specific, small, simple drills on a daily basis, like 10-20 minutes a day, and you will improve. Now, I personally, I really struggled with the whole sitting back, watching in front of the class, reading and writing stuff down. That combination of learning that you typically get in schools, that was where I struggled the most. I mean, for various reasons. But over the years, I've had to go and read very complex journals, medical journals, to find out the information I use now.
Especially with something like neurology.
Neurology and biophysics, biochemistry as well, the same thing. And especially when you're challenging paradigms and norms, so you're reading papers and trying to show holes in this paper and compare it against this one. And, you know, you've got to understand a lot of stuff. I mean, I think I got a D in maths when I was in secondary school, in GCSEs. and now I'm doing algebra physics.
Yeah.
You know, it's I'm understanding it. I'm not creating it. You know, I'm kind of working out very slowly and working with it, and building it, and being able to compare it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible for anyone to build any form of learning style within themselves if they put enough practice into it. Just like anything else, it's a skill.
Yeah.
Standing up still is a skill.
Yes.
You know, walking is a skill. Crawling is a skill. We forget that we were babies and we could not do any of that.
Yeah.
But when you're a baby, you don't just like go, you know what, this walking mark isn't for me. I'm just going to crawl for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. You know? So I mean, that's the thing. One of the biggest things for me with learning styles, it's noticing which one you are.
Yeah.
Using that to get yourself into a good space. And then understanding what the other ones are that you need to build on to go to where you need to go next. But having a clear idea of what those are is the first step.
I mean, it's you know, it's a bit like sport or any sort of form of competitive sport when they say focus on your strengths first and foremost, and then work on your weaknesses as you go along, because you know, your weaker styles of learning, to a certain degree, like you said, because they are a skill, are to a certain extent going to be your weaker style of learning, but you can always improve on that. Whereas your strengths are going to be your strengths. So if that's your primary, so say for example, learning through touch or learning through actually physically partaking in kinesthetics actually works best for you. That is going to be your strength, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you limit yourself to purely that mode of learning. You can improve it in other aspects.
Yeah, completely. I mean, we could even take that a step further and incorporate in those systems also lines of intelligence, so different little types of intelligence. Musical intelligence isn't an intelligence by itself. Physical or somatic intelligence isn't intelligence by itself. Emotional intelligence isn't intelligence by itself. You know, IQ is the famous one everyone thinks of, what your IQ is. But that's only one line of intelligence. You have so many more. Willpower, for instance, is a line of intelligence. How much willpower do you have? Then you can take it even a step further than that. You go into what level of social divide are you from? Are you more results orientated? Are you like this company, this university, is it this much, or are you group orientated? Often ends up being more of a religious aspect or believing in a tribe. You know, are you power orientated? Are you I've just got to be the strongest, I've got to do this, I'm going alone. You know, what kind of person are you as well? What kind of personality do you hold? What tribe do you belong to? You know, none of them are technically better than the other, but it's all understanding yourself and where those elements are coming from. You know, it all starts by understanding your learning style first. Until you can understand that, you're not going to be able to educate yourself on those other subjects. I mean, it's the key starting point for me for any form of skill acquisition.
I mean, so say for example, you look at, say, like talking about the avatar types in regards to what sort of personality do you have. So say for example, someone like Donald Trump, as an example, is heavily fixated on me. I have to be the strongest.
He's what you call power gods. He believes himself almost as a god. He's got to be the biggest. He's got to be the best. No one else can challenge that. As long as you're following him. As long as you're part of his tribe. He doesn't want to be part of your tribe. You have to be part of his tribe. And that's a very, very atypical character type, personality type. Very easy one to look at right now.
It's exactly that. Someone like Hillary Clinton is more social. She thinks a little bit more of a...
so she's a funny one. So with these as well, you will flip around between a few different ones. So she would be more of results orientated. This university, this qualification, this, you know, very much it has to be in the recognised field. It's very much academic. It's very much chartered.
Yeah, sure.
So like you have chartered accountants, chartered lawyers.
Yeah.
It's those sort of really highly royal recognised sort of systems.
Yeah.
Work for a company, work your way up, get your gold watch at the end.
Yeah.
You know, that's very much there. But she also does filter into that sort of group aspect of fitting into a bigger picture, a whole of tribe.
Yeah.
She definitely isn't very inclusive. If you're not part of her tribe, if you're not part of her group, you're out.
Yeah.
She'll do anything she needs to get you out. Yeah. She's not very inclusive at all.
Yeah. So you see that in the history as well.
Yeah. And then you've got other people as well who are a lot more inclusive, like they're considered a bit hippie, very green type of people. You know? And the funny thing is, you can see that today on our culture wars, where we have people who, the people who are very green, there's people who are very results driven, there's people who are very tribal, and you've got this three-way culture war going on at the moment, where the people who are more tribal think everyone else is almost stupid and they don't believe the right thing.
Yeah, sure.
You've got people who are the results based, think that people who are tribal are immature, and the people who are green are a bit hippie.
Yeah.
And you've got people who are green just thinking everyone else is wrong and everyone else is stupid and everyone else should believe their way. So everyone believes their way is best.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not until we see people evolving and more out that and just be a bit like, well, everyone's right in their perspective, but they can't all be right at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, everything's right in context.
Yeah.
So until we start seeing more of a social aspect of that sort of climbing up, we're going to still keep this culture war going on that we've currently got.
Yeah.
But that's more about communicating with others rather than learning yourself. It's still an important thing to understand when you've got someone in front of you trying to teach you something.
Yeah.
Because if you start trying to tell them how to teach you and you don't understand what social aspect they're coming from, I mean, there are only 3 social aspects, or 4 social aspects, 5 social aspects I mentioned there, they're more. If you don't understand where they're coming from and you talk to them in the wrong manner, just like I'm sure anyone's done before, they've tried to say something in the best of heart and you've got the worst type of reaction. Understanding how to communicate with someone else's values is actually a really important skill. And again, that starts from learning and understanding learning styles. You know, that's got to be the first step, because that's the way to build upon everything.
So, like we've alluded to, there's many different styles. There's many different styles of learning. Some you're going to be particularly strong in. Some you're going to be particularly weak in. Obviously, there's no such thing as one size fits all. But in terms of bringing up the other skills that you may not necessarily be weak in your opinion, what would you say is the best way to learn about that? Would it be to sort of strip it bare and relate your strong learning style to those, or would it be a case of repetition with your weaker styles?
With the weaker style, the only way to learn them is to do them. It's like going, okay, I'm gonna learn to run really fast by jumping really high.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
That makes sense.
Just because you can jump high does not mean you can run fast. To learn to run fast, you need to use skills developed around running fast. Same thing to learn to read and write. You need to learn skills developed around reading and writing, not by doing. So, for me, for instance, you know, it sounds very obvious. Pick up a book. Start with something easy to read. Then work on something harder. Something harder. Just get used to reading. The more you read, the better and faster you go to read. Now, a way to shortcut this, is by only reading things that you're super interested in, and especially things that are really short. Because starting off with something long or difficult you're not interested in,
there's too many barriers.
You just don't want to do it. And if you've got that emotional barrier of saying, I just don't really want to do this, it's not, I'm not interested, I don't care, you're not going to do it. That's the simple one. The other way to really improve reading and writing is to actually write down what you just wrote. Because this is another form of repetition, but it's a slightly different system.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you start doing that, you get your basics up in each of them, and then you start combining the systems.
Yeah.
So the best way for human beings to learn anything in the world, full stop, this is clear across the board, there are no exceptions, is learn, do, teach.
Yeah.
So first you learn it, then you must do it, and then you must teach it back to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you can see here a massive mix of styles coming into play.
Yeah.
Not just cross-learning styles, but social styles, all sorts. Okay? And intelligence styles.
Sure.
So once you start going into these aspects, you start to go, okay, right, I'm covering across the board many things. So when you think about that, it's the best way to learn something for you. Think about trying to develop a new skill.
Yeah.
It's like differential learning styles. You're learning the same thing, but you're going to learn it by reading it, then by writing it down, by getting up and doing it, then by talking to someone about it, then by listening to them talk back to you about it, and then responding in a conversation.
Yeah.
You're then covering pretty much every kind of thing. You talk about it in a sequential process manner. You talk about it in a global context and how other things could fit into it.
Yeah.
If you start using every single system in one learning piece, suddenly they all become one system, because that's what they originally were, one system. You were just programmed to know one better than the other.
Yeah.
That's it. Just because you have more success, more programming, more rewards, more encouragement to go and do that one system, that's why you understand that system better.
Sure.
You know? It's pretty much just that. I mean, there are obviously a few other variables that come into place. I mean, but you were just basically programmed to learn that style easier. You know?
Keep it very simple.
Yeah.
Learn, do, teach.
Yeah, learn, do, teach. Learn, do, teach is the best way to remember anything you want to learn across the board. And then the overall best system to develop is one of every single part of learning style. So when you learn something, there's really cool numerical or visual sort of tactics you can use to remember things as well, and the more complicated things. But learn, do, teach is the most simple, across the board way that everyone will learn. Learn, do, teach.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Right, that's all we've got time for, guys. Once again, it's been brilliant talking to you, Christian. Thanks so much for that.
Thanks, mate.
And we will check you out very soon. Got my workshop coming up this Saturday. Really looking forward to it. We're going to be talking about styles of learning as well as skill acquisition, as well as a whole host of other subjects as well. Once again, Christian, where's the best place to get hold of you? Where are the best places to get hold of you?
Yes, so Equilibrium Transformations is my business, and I've got my Facebook page, Equilibrium Transformations, or eqtransformations.co.uk is my website, so go check that out, or my personal Facebook page, Christian Thomson. Ask me any questions on there. I'm constantly posting stuff. I've got my membership system, which is you can contact me through either the Facebook page or my website about. So please come check that out, and I look forward to hearing from many of you very soon.
Take care, guys. See you soon.